My name is Jego, Senior Race Engineer for Williams. We did that 453, which is the big lower wing without gurney. My job title, my job, is really to be the one person of contact for the race driver. That's outside of the racetrack and at the racetrack. I'm the one that guides him through everything he has to do when he's driving the car, and make sure he gets the right information with the right timing to be able for him to achieve the best ultimate result when he's on track. Okay, one thing we can do, don't change your diff, drive exactly as you drove. And after 3 laps, when you have a feel for the model, tire model, we can change the diff gain, which is basically the friction of the diff. And how much it's going to give you for an opening. You can see if we can reduce that.
Let's try a slower steering input for turn 9 to stabilize the rear, shallower throttle lift.
So we are in what we call Deal 3. Deal is driver in the loop, which for everyone is basically a simulator. And Carlos will do a run in the simulator, and then he will, after a few laps, when he feels that he understood a bit the car and what the setup is, he will stop, will get his feedback.
Equivalent like 2 or 3 tenths, too much creeping in medium to low speed, coming a bit too much from the rear, too much rear and too much understeering low speed.
That mid-corner heaviness is something you would want from the entry all the way, correct?
Yes, I would like that heaviness on entry.
We will look at data with him, and then we'll continue with the plan, which most of the time is testing different setups, options that we think are potential benefit for the track you're evaluating at with. And it's something you don't really have the time to do at the racetrack.
This was quite a good example because you did the early upshift and then you got these 2 big snaps, so we can look at the tyre and see what's happening.
To be honest, balance-wise, also the diff mid is not opening as much as at the track.
We will have involved the main 3 persons that are with the race driver. So the race engineer, myself, the performance engineer, Marco, and the driver performance engineer, Russell. They will be following the session like they would follow the car on track.
Main time loss was it 15? Pushed the entry a little bit too much maybe for the rotation you had?
When you do correlation, there's a lot more people involved because you will have people from various departments on what you're correlating. If you're correlating tires, tire science will be involved. If you're correlating aero, aero performance group will be involved. They don't need to come in the room. They can just access remotely. They can look at the live data anywhere they sit in the world. Well, most of them are in the factory, but I mean, if they're working from home or if they're already traveling, they're already at the track, they can access all the data live, or they can look at the data afterwards.
So it's the same way as quality?
Correct. It's basically a math model of what the car is, of what the tire is, or what the PU is. The main objective is to define your starting setup and to understand what option you have on track to be able to react if you're limited by certain aspect of the balance of the car. It can be oversteer high speed, it can be front locking, it can be ride.
So for turn 2 you had a longer throttle lift to keep the driving line?
You just want to define a baseline setup where you're going to start your weekend, and you want to define options of what you can move to if you're limited once you hit the track.
When we would run the 40 would be if it's a mixed conditions weekend.
Yes. At the moment, the most I can predict, it basically says the wind is basically changing every day, and there's rain. But this is dry, and then there's just that day of rain. And this basically shows you that it's changing a lot. So I think if we run the baseline, we test the 2 wind. We try to understand if we think we want to run with a wind, without wind, and if a wind, which one?
Just for me, remember the fact that the low rear wing makes the low speed more difficult, but not the high speed.
The baseline is not the 20.
The car is super draggy here.
Yes.
That's why the low wing will be good.
Yes. I think we don't need long runs to that to get you feeling. So we can, the baseline is the 20, so we can just put the 2 wind in for you to feel. The big positive of the simulator, of the deal, is that it's a controlled environment. You cannot explore much setup when you're on track. And even sometimes exploring the setup is difficult because there's track evolution, the wind will change, the track temperature will change, you will be on different fuel level, different tire compound. In the deal, you are controlling all these parameters. So all these are the exact same from one run to the other. So you can really focus on the setup change. So it's a much easier world to evaluate setup changes.
3 and 9 for sure feels we are only like 3 to 5 points of rear load away. So it's better.
Okay, it looks like the grip is too high. It looks like also there's a through counterbalance from the braking. When you're in a deal, you're not after ultimate lap time. You're after understanding what it brings to the car. So what you're after is understanding a lap time gain, but you're not ultimately after that. You need to understand where it brings improvement in through counterbalance, where the driver feels more confident to push, and where he's a bit more limited. And you will have that when you bring an upgrade, you will have that when you do a setup change. So you're really about having this detail and understanding this. At the track, you need a good race driver. In the deal, you need a good test driver. The next step from the session is I write an executive summary that a large group of people will get, and they use that to follow up a bit what we are doing. And I will have to, let's say, raise a setup that I will want my crew to build the car with. So we are Wednesday, the people are already at the track and they're gonna build the car. So I'm gonna send them all the information they need to be able to finish to build the car tomorrow in the morning, then to set up the car and for the car to be ready Friday to go to FP1.